Good afternoon, traders, and welcome to another edition of Market Analysis with AndraAI. And we're working on a forecast that came out at 10 o'clock this morning, in which Andra basically gave us a little bit of a confusing forecast. It's a it's a directional conflict up, and directional conflicts are, especially when they're up, are a mild form of a bullish forecast. And it's a long only forecast, and we've been waiting for an opportunity to go long, and we might be getting closer to one now because we needed a pullback, and maybe that pullback is about to happen. And one of the interesting things about directional conflicts is the best entry into them is to take advantage of stop runs. And I know many of you have had your stops run, and I'm sure many of you have cursed when your stops get run and the market reverses in the direction of your trade right after that. And when we get a forecast like this, that sets us up to anticipate the same thing happening to traders, and you want to be the one that actually takes advantage of it by fading the stop run of another trader. And possibly the stop that will be run will be the one from the low of this morning. We'll see. We'll see. There should be some stops under there. The question is, do we have an advantage when it goes down there? Because we don't want to take trades without an advantage. So since we're getting close, I'm going to go into our analyzer and show you what's going on. Okay, just give me a sec, and I want to zoom in so you guys can get a better view of what I'm doing. Okay, so let's take a look at where we are, and I'll show you what's going on. Now, the low of this morning was 74, so we're going to go down into that area, and we're going to take a look at what's going on. Okay, so if we do run stops, maybe we'll get down to 73 and a quarter or so. So let's take a look and see if we have an edge there. And if we look at our best trade using our RIM model, remember the RIM model is the one that takes advantage of tick level analysis to give us transitional probabilities and enhance the forecast, and especially in selecting targets. Okay, so let's see what Andra says. And we do a best trade, and you can see that we do have a marginal edge here, 18.6%, giving us the ability to risk one contract on a $5,000 account. Now that's a micro contract, not a big ES. But if you have a larger account, you could risk one contract on a $50,000 account, just to give you an idea. And our stops were set at a minimum of 12 handles because of the volatility that was expected today. And you can see the metrics of this trade, which look okay. Now, if we happen to go down a little bit further and get into the area of the blue zone, which is maybe another 5 handles down or so, maybe to 65, we actually have a better edge. But the question is, if we do that, have we canceled the bullishness of the market? And probably not. Okay, so let's take a look at that too, and you can see if we go down there, then we get a much more interesting edge of 29%. Okay, so this kind of precision comes out of Andra, and I don't know if you can get this kind of precision anywhere else, where it tells you what your probability of getting stopped out is, what your probability of hitting targets. Now, like I said, I have this set for my day trading type activity. But if you're more of a trader that wants to take quicker targets, in this case we would be going long at 66 and setting our target at 39.90. But you can change that by going into selections or hitting the edit button and changing your target percentage that you'll accept to a higher number. And I'm going to change it to 40%, and you'll see what will happen is it'll give us a smaller target, but that doesn't mean that a trade exists that will fulfill that. In this case, it doesn't. There is no 40% target. It might be a 30% target, and like I said, that's one of the things that you can play with by changing this to what's acceptable to you. Let's see, about a 30% target. Okay, with a 30% target, we have a very marginal edge. Okay, and in this case, the target was reduced from 39.90 down to 39.78. Okay, so by playing with user settable parameters, you can basically customize Andra for your own trading style to an extent, although the higher and more restrictive you put on restrictions you put on Andra in finding trades, the less likely it is that you will actually find a trade that has an edge. Okay, so I'm going to set us back to our 10% because that's where I like to leave it. And like I said, 10% targets I find to be appropriate for day trading. We have other settings that are better for swing trading. Okay, so anyway, let me go back to our normal screen, and I want to talk to you about a couple of other things. And we'll go back to our history display, as you can see. Now, as we come down over here, we haven't gotten down quite to the spot that we want to get, but on days like today, the market has a habit of running people's stops. So just watch and see what happens. You want to see get some sense that the market is stalling, maybe get an acceleration and then a stall before you enter a trade. And like I said, ideally we would like to see the blue zone, but basically anywhere below the low from this morning might be appropriate. And we'll see how that works out. Okay, a couple of things I want to point out. The market is still under the influence of Chairman Powell's speech from yesterday. Now, he gave another speech today in which he said more or less the same thing, so there was not as violent a reaction today as there was from yesterday when the market went on a pretty consistent swoon to the downside, and I might mention that it's one that Andra did not anticipate. Andra does not always anticipate the news. Sometimes she does and sometimes she doesn't, but in this case she didn't. Okay, but she seems to be back on track right now. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we have been getting some requests from people to subscribe. We are not quite ready to take on subscribers yet. We will be ready to take on beta testers soon. And if you want to be considered as a beta tester and get information on when subscriptions are available, I suggest that you contact us through the contact form on our website, and also you can be sure to be notified of everything if you join our mailing list, and you can join our mailing list by going to the bottom of the home page and signing up. Okay, and also you might want to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Okay, so those are things that you can do to keep up on what we're doing. Okay, so I will leave you to trading. You've got your instructions, and good trading, everybody, and we'll see how this forecast turns out, because we should end up with a rally at the end of the day. This forecast, by the way, is good through 4 o'clock today, so it should take us into the end of the day. So good trading, everyone, and I will see you probably tomorrow when I'll do another video.